Welcome to our channel Behind My Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
We all wish to live a fairy tale, something right out of our dreams. Unfortunately, that is not always the case. Some stories are better left in the dark where they belong, never to be trampled upon, never to be heard. Mine was such a story. My name is Amanda. I'm 19. I live with my father and three sisters in the basement. Yes, you heard me. The basement. To protect ourselves from the alien invaders. I'm not crazy. It's true. And the weirdest part is yet to come. My dad used to work at a science research center, and for some unknown reason they kicked him out. Now he runs a small library. Well, he did. The pay wasn't much, but it was more than enough. As for my mom, she died a mysterious death. She was late coming home from work one day, and when Dad got home, we told him that she hadn't arrived. He called the police. They searched everywhere for her. Then they finally found her body in the river. It was too late by then. The culprit was unknown. There were no clues, no traces of anything. That day, Dad gathered us round to tell us a secret. He told us that the aliens had killed our mother. We were young then. We didn't quite get what he was saying. But we knew that Dad wouldn't tell a lie. He also showed us a paper with strange writing. Nothing like anything we've ever seen before. He told us that the paper said that the aliens would invade the Earth within days. We were shocked, not knowing what we were supposed to do. We started crying. So Dad decided that we were to live in the basement of the house until the invasion is over. The next day he went out, and when he came back, he had all sorts of food and drink. He locked all the doors and windows. He moved all the electric appliances to the basement. We weren't even allowed to watch TV or any contact with the outside world. And we started living in the basement. One of my sisters was sick, but because we weren't allowed to deal with the outside world, she died. The days passed, one after another. We were completely isolated. Whenever we ran out of food, Dad would leave to get us more, at the risk of his own life, of course. He would always lock us in the basement while he was gone. One of those days, Dad had gone to get us food, but when he got back, he was crying. He said that the aliens invaded the Earth, that the human race was going extinct, that we were among the very few that still remained on the planet. After that, Dad's behavior got weirder. He would sit alone and mutter to himself, "Death is coming. All is lost." And time passed infinitely. It felt like years in that basement. One day, Dad came back from his trip. There was a strange, scary look in his eyes, and he had a gun in his hand. He looked at us and said, "I won't allow the aliens to kill you. I will spare you their torture. I will end this myself." And he pointed the gun in our direction. My sisters and I ran to the door, pounding on it with all our might, calling for help. He screamed madly and said, "Death to all." With all our pounding, the door swung open. We ran up. All the doors and windows were barred down with wooden plates, all except one. We ran out to the street, and there was our shock. Normal humans were walking around everywhere, and when they saw us, they screamed and said, "The ghosts of Denver Manor." We didn't know what was going on, but Dad had come out after us and started firing the gun at random. A bunch of people tied him down and called the police. When the police came, he told us the truth, that Dad had lost his mind when he got fired from work, and when Mom confronted him, he killed her, and that was the end.
Scientists once documented a case where a person slept for 32 hours straight. Quite a record. When he woke up from his deep sleep, he suffered from a temporary balance problem. Imagine what it would be like to awake after sleeping for 10 years straight. My name is Frederick. My wife Alexandria and I have two kids, Tom and Cheryl. I met Alexandria during college, and we fell in love with each other. We graduated from college, and I began building my career from scratch, with Alexandria helping and supporting me the whole way. In the beginning, we were a poor family. After we got married, we had our two kids. We lived in a small apartment, but later moved into a bigger one as I worked on achieving my dreams with Alexandria at my side. We endured numerous successes and failures, but she never gave up on me or lost faith in me. I am now the owner of a large contracting company. I was lucky to achieve my dream, but life sure didn't help me much. My life suffered an upset one day when I traveled to another city to do some business. The business concluded satisfactorily, and I began the long drive home. During the return trip, one of my rear tires blew out, causing me to lose control of the car. As the car was rolling over and over, my life flashed through my mind. I thought of my family and quickly prayed that I would see them again. I got banged up pretty badly and lost consciousness. I had interminable slow-motion dreams about my life, including reliving the scene when Alexandria and I first met. I felt as if I were slowly sinking deeper and deeper into the bottomless, darkening ocean depths. It felt as if someone was tugging at me and trying to pull me upwards towards the surface. I could hear voices, but couldn't tell where they were coming from. Suddenly, I opened my eyes and heard a repetitive beeping noise. It was coming from the oscilloscope next to my bed. It was my heartbeat, apparently. I found it rather annoying. Then a nurse flitted to my bedside, saying, "He's awake! He's awake!" Then she rushed off and came back with a doctor in tow. She seemed happy to see me awake. What was the big deal about waking up? The doctor did the usual general health checks of my eyes, lungs, heartbeat, pulse, blood pressure, ears, and throat. Then he asked the nurse to call my family. When Alexandria, Tom, and Cheryl walked into the room, my jaw dropped in shock. They looked like they had aged about 10 years. In response to my query about what the heck was going on, the doctor proceeded to tell me that I had been in a coma for 10 years, that the hospital wanted to take me off life support and let me pass on, and that Alexandria had staunchly refused to give up hope for my eventual recovery. My mind couldn't really accept the reality that I had actually been asleep for 10 years, but all doubts vanished when I left the hospital and stepped into the outside world. It was so strange looking compared to what I had known. I was thinking that it would take me a long time to catch up with all the changes in the world over the past 10 years. I wouldn't recommend that anyone ever sleep for 10 years.
My best friend and I were friends for over a decade, and while we went through our share of ups and downs, we always got through it. That's why I was totally blindsided when she tried to ruin my wedding experience. I knew she was a selfish person. She's the type of person that wants the attention on her all the time, no matter what. I didn't mind that everything was always about her because it never affected me directly and I didn't care about getting attention myself. She showed interest in my life and was fun to be around, so it just wasn't a huge issue for the 10 plus years we were friends. She seemed excited for me when I got engaged. She appeared to be extremely happy for me when I told her my boyfriend had proposed, just as a best friend should be. She told me she couldn't wait to be my maid of honor and help with the wedding planning. I hadn't officially asked her yet, but I let it go because I assumed she was just really excited. She started causing problems as soon as I told her I booked the wedding date. When I scheduled the wedding date without consulting her first, she had a strange response. She told me she had planned to go on a vacation that week and asked if I could change the date. And it was still a year away. I was so confused because she didn't mention it before, even though she knew I wanted to have the wedding around that time. I figured she was upset because she wasn't getting all of the attention. I even asked her about it, but she insisted she just had her heart set on a vacation that week and that was the only reason. We eventually worked it out, but I was still baffled. She made the other bridesmaids' lives a living hell. The problems didn't end there. She wouldn't work with the other bridesmaids on any of the planning and was constantly fighting with them. She wanted to do everything her way and wanted to be the one to make the final decisions because she said it was her right as maid of honor. All I wanted was for the planning to be fun, and she was totally ruining the experience for me and the other bridesmaids. She fought me every step of the way. For example, when we picked out the bridesmaids' dresses, she complained about how it looked on her even though I did my best to choose a flattering style. She eventually agreed, but after we ordered the dresses, she called me to say she couldn't afford it. It wasn't a dress that broke the bank at all, and I knew she had plenty of money, but I helped her and the other bridesmaids pay for their dresses anyway, just because I wanted to avoid more drama. She eventually said she didn't want to be in the bridal party anymore, and then got mad when I didn't beg her to come back. While planning the bridal shower, the fighting with the other bridesmaids finally reached a boiling point. She called me crying, saying that she couldn't get along with them and she didn't want to be in the wedding anymore. I asked if she was sure about her decision. She said yes, and I thought that was the end of it. I was relieved that the problems would hopefully be over. However, she sent me a text later saying that she couldn't believe I didn't beg her to stay. Really? After all that, she didn't even come to the wedding when I invited her. We didn't speak for a while after she backed out. I chose my other very close friend to be my maid of honor, and things went great after that. I was finally enjoying the process. Even though we hadn't resolved everything, I invited her to the wedding anyway. I was hoping she would still attend because we had been friends for so long. I was willing to try to get past it, especially if she could get over herself and come to the wedding. It would have shown me that she still wanted to be there for me, but she didn't go. It's been 5 years and I haven't spoken to her since. I hear about her from time to time through mutual friends, and she's told a few people that it was my fault. I'm guessing she tells everyone that I was the one being selfish, but I know the truth. The fact that she can't even admit she did anything wrong just reinforces that I made the right decision by parting ways with her. I am glad I found out then that she wasn't a true friend. I do miss the good parts of our friendships, and sometimes it feels like I lost a sister, because we were friends for so long. But she clearly wasn't a real friend if she did that to me, so I'm glad she showed me her true colors. I'm sad that things happened that way, but there's no way I could ever trust her again after what happened. I guess getting married really is one of those situations where you find out who your true friends are.